Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Main Event Insider, your #1 WWE hub. Don't forget to subscribe and let's dive in. The absence of a superstar can sometimes speak louder than the most dramatic moments in WWE. Seth Rollins, known for chaos, psychological warfare, and electrifying energy, recently vanished from television, leaving fans shocked and unsettled. This disappearance wasn't a casual hiatus. It signaled a deeper story at play, blending real-life injury with calculated narrative development. Rollins' absence created tension and anticipation, raising questions about what had happened and what might come next. Surrounded by betrayal, silence, and speculation, his missing presence became a story in itself. Fans are left imagining how his return could reshape Raw, change alliances, and reignite rivalries, promising a thrilling new chapter in his storied career. The sudden vanishing act. When Seth Rollins disappeared from Raw, it wasn't accompanied by fanfare, music, or farewell. He simply vanished, leaving only the image of betrayal behind. This sudden absence created an immediate sense of unease, signaling that something serious had occurred. The figures responsible, Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman, did more than attack Rollins. They systematically erased him from the landscape. WWE used this moment to blur the line between real-life circumstances and storyline drama, leveraging absence to heighten suspense. Fans quickly understood that this wasn't a simple plot device, but a deliberate strategy, intertwining storytelling with Rollins' real-life shoulder surgery. The calculated nature of his removal allowed for anticipation and speculation to grow organically, making his return a potential event of seismic proportions. The impact of injury reports confirmed that Seth Rollins underwent shoulder surgery, sidelining him for months instead of weeks. This injury provided the perfect narrative tool for WWE to integrate real-life circumstances into storytelling. Shoulder surgery does more than pause a career. It creates time, which allows narratives to develop, villains to grow arrogant, and fans to build anticipation. WWE used this time to create a sense of void, turning Rollins' absence into a story driver. The injury's seriousness made it clear that the removal of a top-tier star was deliberate, ensuring that when he returns, it would feel impactful. Absence transforms legends, and in this case, it heightened Rollins' aura while allowing rival factions to consolidate power, setting the stage for a dramatic comeback rooted in both strategy and reality. The night of betrayal, the Raw, following Crown Jewel, became a turning point. Seth Rollins, isolated in the ring, was surrounded by men he once trusted. Bron Breakker, with explosive dominance, Bronson Reed, an unstoppable force, and Paul Heyman, the master strategist, systematically attacked him. The assault was precise, reinforcing that this was not a moment of emotional rage, but one of calculated removal. Each movement told a story. This was about eliminating a threat before it could regain influence. WWE used this moment to show that factions are driven by fear and strategy, not mere emotion. By blending real-life absence with on-screen betrayal, they elevated the storyline, making Rollins' eventual return a potential seismic event, while establishing the villains as dominant forces in his absence. The birth of a new faction. To understand this betrayal, one must look back to WrestleMania 41. Paul Heyman shocked the world by aligning with Seth Rollins, leaving CM Punk and Roman Reigns. This was not a typical heel turn. It signified Rollins' shift from opposing the system to controlling it. Together with Heyman, Breakker, and Reed, Rollins formed a faction defined by precision, dominance, and strategic chaos. They quickly became a dangerous force on Raw, systematically targeting opponents, championships, and narratives. Breakker overwhelmed challengers, Reed crushed resistance, Heyman exuded inevitability, and Rollins orchestrated the chaos. This faction turned Raw into a hostile environment where survival was uncertain, demonstrating that efficiency and control, rather than personal vendettas, drive wrestling dominance. Why Rollins became expendable. Ironically, Rollins' strategic brilliance and control made him a liability to his allies. Factions rarely crumble from hatred, they collapse from fear. Rollins' unpredictability, emotional intensity, and power made him dangerous even to those aligned with him. Heyman, known for using loyalty as a tool, saw a future where Rollins was no longer necessary. Breaker's dominance and Reed's unstoppable force shifted the balance of power. WWE intertwined these real-world dynamics with storyline development, turning Rollins' absence into a narrative device that allowed villains to thrive. By removing Rollins during his real-life injury, WWE created a seamless blend of reality and fiction, letting silence fuel mythology while keeping fans invested in the eventual, highly anticipated return. The role of absence in storytelling. Absence can be a narrative weapon in wrestling. Time off allows grudges to ferment, legends to grow, and storylines to escalate organically. Rollins' disappearance gave WWE the chance to craft suspense and build anticipation for his return. Meanwhile, Breaker, Reed, and Heyman expanded their control, creating tension and dominance in his absence. Silence became a story element itself, as fans speculated endlessly about alliances, potential comebacks, and future conflicts. WWE used the combination of injury and storyline removal to craft a narrative that made Rollins' eventual return feel meaningful, potent, and necessary. His absence elevated the stakes and amplified the sense of danger and intrigue surrounding Raw's power dynamics. Unfinished business and potential allies. Seth Rollins has never fought his battles alone, understanding the importance of alliances. A key element of his narrative lies in unfinished business with former allies, notably the authors of Pain, Akam, and Reezer. Released earlier, these former enforcers were silent, efficient, and ruthless, and they once backed Rollins during his Messiah era. Their reunion with Rollins is logical and plausible, given their shared history and complementary strengths. Returning alongside them would give Rollins the tactical edge to counter Breaker's explosive power and Reed's immovability, creating a balanced, terrifying force. WWE's storytelling here emphasizes strategy, history, and trust, highlighting how alliances can amplify a superstar's impact, turning a heroic comeback into a calculated, almost merciless campaign of revenge. The Architects of Revenge. If Rollins returns with Akam and Reezer, the narrative flips dramatically. He transforms from victim to strategist, reversing the power dynamic and reclaiming control. Heyman, who relies on dominance and foresight, could find himself vulnerable to the very force he once helped elevate. This potential return is not about redemption or applause, but about punishment and precision. Every action, pause, and gesture becomes meaningful, reflecting Rollins' intelligence and mastery of strategy. WWE uses this concept to elevate storytelling beyond simple hero versus villain tropes, emphasizing narrative depth, history, and long-term payoff. Fans are drawn to the suspense and meticulous planning, anticipating a comeback that promises calculated chaos rather than spontaneous emotion. The long game, injury, absence, and escalation. WWE has mastered the art of timing in storytelling. Rollins' shoulder surgery and consequent absence create the perfect conditions for escalation. While Heyman grows arrogant and Breaker and Reed dominate, fans' anticipation intensifies and the narrative tension builds. The injury serves as a plot device, allowing the story to simmer and ensuring Rollins' return is not rushed. WWE understands that proper timing enhances impact. By integrating real-world circumstances, the company allows for long-term storytelling, where absence fuels speculation, villainous dominance escalates, and the eventual return carries enormous narrative weight. This patient build ensures that when Rollins reappears, the emotional and dramatic payoff will be extraordinary. The Dark Return. Seth Rollins' eventual return promises more than heroics. It signals a darker, more calculated approach to revenge. This is about strategy, punishment, and regaining narrative control. Backed by Akam and Rezar, Rollins' return would disrupt existing power structures, overturn dominance, and create a tense battlefield. WWE frames this as the evolution of Rollins' character, adaptable, intelligent, and impossible to erase. Every move and reaction would carry meaning, sending a message that betrayal and absence have consequences. This narrative depth elevates Rollins' legacy, turning his return into a masterclass in long-term storytelling that integrates real-life events with calculated in-ring drama and factional power struggles. Conclusion: the visionary remains. Even in absence, Seth Rollins remains a central figure in WWE storytelling. Injured, silent, and removed from the ring, his presence is felt through anticipation, speculation, and the escalating dominance of his rivals. The narrative sets him up not as a traditional hero, but as a calculated war general, returning with monsters at his side to challenge the empire he once helped build. WWE blends reality and fiction, injury and storyline, to craft a scenario where Rollins' eventual return will be explosive, strategic, and unforgettable. Silence may last for months, but in WWE, conflict is inevitable, and legends like Rollins always return stronger, smarter, and more dangerous.